General Hospital, Michael uncovers Willow's shocking secret, will kids be lost forever? General Hospital sees Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson, suspects that Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, is the person who was targeting baby Daisy. If Michael can confirm and expose it, Willow could lose custody of her kids permanently. We're going to talk about Michael digging into the gaslighting and what Willow might do when she realizes her dirty deeds could get outed to the custody judge. General Hospital, Michael realized the truth about Willow and baby Daisy. Michael was actually the second person to figure out what Willow has been up to. It was Liesl Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, who first noticed that Willow was smirking and looked delighted when Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, mentioned how sad it was that Michael lost newborn baby Daisy from his life because of what had happened. Then Michael started to do the math too. He told Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, that he was thinking about Daisy and worried about all the milestones he's missing with his daughters. We all know babies grow up and change so fast. Plus, Daisy and Sasha Gilmore, Sophia Matson, are far away. And he can't see his daughter at all right now. Michael told Dante he has an idea of who was doing those strange things to Daisy that drove Sasha out of town. Dante was really surprised to hear Michael say he thinks it's Willow that was gaslighting Sasha, likely for payback. Because Willow Tate lost their kids. Michael has checked security footage and didn't see Willow caught on any of the cameras. That's part of why Michael hasn't called her out or confronted her. He doesn't have any proof yet. But that may change. Michael hopes he's wrong. But all signs absolutely point to Willow more than anybody else. She knows the Quartermaine mansion really well inside and out, so she knows how to avoid the security cameras except for that nanny Kim Bear that caught her and Drew Kane Quartermaine, Cameron Matheson, doing the deed. The fact that she can avoid cameras is one point against her. General Hospital, Willow the likely suspect. There's also the fact that what was done to Daisy wasn't harmful like somebody coming after Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, might do. It felt more petty and kind of personal. Michael told Dante, if it's true and Willow Tate did this, it could change everything. Michael won't be able to let Willow near Wiley Quartermaine Corinthos, Viren Weaver, and Amelia Grace Corinthos, Sequoia and Serenity Mork-Mako, ever again if she's this unhinged. But also if Willow figures out Michael is onto her as Daisy stalker, she might do something drastic. If Willow is scared, Michael will crush any chance of joint custody and make sure she never sees their kids again. Honestly, no telling what she might do. Willow could decide to pick up and use the plan Drew was cooking up for Michael. General Hospital, Portia shocked. If you remember, Drew told Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, to fake lab test results to make it look like Michael has turned into an opioid addict after getting burned in the bombing. You know, painkiller addiction is relatively common after an accident. That's actually a deviously good idea. And if you remember, Portia told Willow how upset she was. Because Drew was blackmailing her and wanted her to rig Michael's blood test. And then Portia was really shocked that Willow was actually on board with that scheme when she heard about it. She's like, well, Michael played dirty with me. Why shouldn't I play dirty with him? And it was kind of fun to watch Portia's jaw drop when Willow was like, I can live with it. Willow may snap on General Hospital. So maybe she decides to go ahead and do it herself if she finds out Michael is suspicious, and she could lose permanent custody of the kids. Yeah, I could see Willow snap and use her access as a nurse to rig tests or to steal medication from the pharmacy and actually drug Michael to make him lose custody. And if you remember, her access at the hospital is another reason that Michael is suspicious that she was the one messing with Daisy. Because he absolutely knows Willow was at General Hospital after Sasha was up there with Daisy and was in the right place at the right time. Another thing that Willow might do if she thinks her ex is going to keep the kids away from her forever is she could run back to Drew and beg for his help. Right now, Willow sees Drew very accurately as a lying gaslighter and she wants nothing to do with him. But Michael said, dump Drew. You can see the kids. General Hospital, Willow uses Drew? And she did. And he's not letting her. So if Willow thinks she can use Drew to help get her kids back, yeah, I think Willow might do that. There's nothing she wouldn't do to get her kids. No matter how dirty she has to play or how low she has to go, even if it's with Drew, I think Willow's prepared to do it. I could also see her deciding she needs help. But can't stomach the idea of being near Drew. And instead, Willow may run to her mom, Nina, and play nice to get some help. Willow may even invite Nina back in her life and tell her she'll forgive her if she helps take down Michael and get her kids back. And like Willow, we know Nina will pretty much do anything for her kid and is desperate to be in Willow's life and Wiley and Amelia's lives. So if Willow asks for it, yeah, I think Nina might help. And she might be willing to target Michael, and they might even get Aunt Liesel on board to help. Willow turns to Sidwell? Another option is Willow could go to Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rhoda, for help because he's Sonny's enemy. This would be perfect. Because Sidwell has all the information about the bribe paid to the custody judge because, you know, Sidwell's the one that paid the bribe to Michael and Willow's judge. I had been trying to figure out why Sidwell wanted the ruling to go that way, to give Michael sole custody and not even allow Willow visitation. The ruling was bizarre. Everybody's commented on it, and it was done so Sidwell could frame Sonny for the bribe. Because the ruling is tilted horribly towards Michael, just kind of in an unprecedented way. And it sounds like something Sonny would do, paying off a judge. So it's kind of a perfect frame job. So Sidwell might help Willow, and I could see Sidwell saying that he'll look into it and then getting the info sent to her lawyer Rick Hurst, that he could bring to the courts to get the ruling tossed out and get Sonny arrested for bribery. Rick would love to do that. Sidwell might be totally on board to help Willow get the kids back. Because it'd be the perfect way for him to bring out that bribery thing he set up. And especially after Sonny kidnapped Sidwell's son, Marco Rios, Adrian and Chando, then roughed him up before Lucas got him out of there. Yeah, Sidwell might be a really good resource. Willow freaks and kidnaps her kids on GH? Finally, if Willow really thinks she could lose Wiley and Amelia, she might do something even more drastic. Willow could drain Michael's bank account or take a pile of cash from Nina and snatch up her kids and just run. This would be a last resort option for Willow if she thinks that she'd never get her kids back in her life because Michael figured out she was messing with Daisy and drove Sasha away. I can absolutely see Willow kidnapping her kids rather than never being allowed to see them. Of course, Sasha deserves to know there's nothing to fear. But let's face it, Michael can hold a grudge. And if he gets proof to use against Willow, I expect Michael would use it. And then Willow could lash out in some insane and desperate way. So we'll have to watch and wait. Britt's secret escape from Liesel, why she's hiding. General Hospital sees Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault alive, but still letting her mom, Liesel Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, and everybody else think that she is dead. And there may be more to why Britt is hiding from Liesel than we have seen happen yet on GH. We're going to talk about a couple of huge reasons that explain why Britt is hiding from her mother Liesel other than the obvious one. So, right now we've got Britt living in Croatia at a posh resort, but on a very, very short leash. The guy who runs the place, Pascal, Mark Forget, works for the same boss she does, and he's making sure Britt can't really go anywhere. Pascal even took her car keys. Also, we've seen Britt injecting herself with meds that I'm pretty sure are keeping her Huntington's disease under control. These drugs might have been developed by her boss or even Hank Dalton, Daniel Goddard, or some secret source, and Britt needs them to stay alive, and that's the only place she can get them. Whoever made the drugs and is doling them out is saving Britt from this terminal disease, at least for now. Jason Morgan's theory on why Britt is hiding: protecting loved ones from Huntington's disease. So there's Jason Morgan's Steve Burton theory that Britt is in hiding to protect her loved ones. Jason told Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, that Britt may think it's better for Liesel and others to think she's dead. That way, nobody has to watch Britt wither away from the terrible things that Huntington's does to your body. And so obviously Jason probably thinks that Britt's in really bad shape at this point based on where her symptoms were and everything. Although he saw her and she looked okay, he knows it's a degenerative disease. So this is Jason's theory and Britt hasn't said this out loud. But I do think Stone Cold is right about that part of it, that Britt doesn't want Liesel or anybody else to see her weakened and in a very bad state. Behind the scenes, the shocking reasons Britt is staying away from Port Charles. But I think there's a lot more to why Britt's staying away and keeping the secret that she's alive. And I think obviously that's stuff that Jason would have no idea about. I think there's a shocking reason that Britt is staying far away from Port Charles when she's very much alive and still loves people there. We know Pascal is reporting to somebody, the same person that Brit is, and she's managing her symptoms, but she's not a happy camper. Brit's under somebody's thumb. She doesn't have much of a life. And by the end of this week, she's pushing back hard. That probably won't go over well. She is stuck at this resort basically in one room, just going over data from experiments carried out by Dalton, who's back in Port Charles. But Brit's starting to get annoyed that she's trapped at the resort. And I feel like the person she works for has leverage over her. Something shocking that they are using to keep Brit in line. Why Brit lets Liesl believe she's dead, protecting her mom from guilt and pain. So yeah, letting Liesl think she died from Heather Weber's Allie Mills hook attack is absolutely to spare Liesl from watching Brit die a slow and awful death. She may worry that Liesl would even blame herself because she couldn't save Brit from the Huntingtons that she inherited from Faison Anders Hove. And we all know, as weird and twisted as she is, Liesl has a great medical mind and she would devote herself to trying to stop the disease progression and buy Brit more time even if the disease can't be cured. So Brit may be worried that Liesl would feel really guilty seeing Brit slip away and doesn't want her mom Liesl to feel that way, to feel responsible for not being able to cure the incurable. The mystery boss, possible threats and leverage over Brit and Liesl. And another shocker that may be in store in General Hospital is Brit may be trying to protect Liesl from her mystery boss. This guy may have threatened Brit's loved ones to get her to cooperate. Her boss might have threatened Liesl if Brit tried to reach out to her mother. The boss may even threaten to drop Brit back in Port Charles just in time for her loved ones to watch her die. If this guy is really bad, there's no telling what kind of leverage he's got. We know the boss controls the supply of the medicine that's keeping Brit alive and her symptoms under control. Could Cassadine be Brit's mystery boss? Exploring past obsessions and possible connections. And another possible shocker is that Brit might be trying to keep her mom and the mystery boss apart for other reasons. Maybe because of who her boss is. It could be somebody who might hurt Liesl or that has some sort of fixation, you know, like if Brit's boss was say a Cassadine like crazy Victor Cassadine, Charles Shaughnessy, because they were involved in the past. And yeah, he supposedly died in 2023, but that means absolutely nothing because Brit was dead, too. And yet here we are talking about Brit not being dead. Plus, Victor's a Cassadine and they're like cockroaches. It's very hard to keep any of them dead. If you were watching back then, you'll recall that Liesl was the object of Victor's obsession for a long time. He claimed he was in love with Liesl, but it was a fixation because that's how Cassadines roll. They don't have normal relationships. So, there's a chance Victor could still be alive and maybe he's the one who has Brit. We could find out that Victor saved Brit and found a way to keep her Huntingtons under control as a way to eventually win Liesl's heart. General Hospital, Victor going after Liesl again? So in Victor's wackado mind, maybe he thinks if he can find a cure for Brit, then Liesl might forgive him and love him. You know, if he finds a way to let Brit live longer and with less severe symptoms, Liesl might say, "Oh, Victor, you're wonderful." You know, so when Victor first came back on General Hospital in 2021, if you don't remember, he kidnapped Liesl, hoping to win her affection. He is definitely one who is willing to go to extremes. So somebody like Victor is a possibility as Brit's mystery boss that Dalton and Sidwell, Carlo Rhoda, were talking about. There are also similarities between Victor and Sidwell that hint they could be working together because Victor and Sidwell both like to keep people locked up in cells as prisoners in remote parts of the world and use people's family as leverage. Or you know, Brit's secret boss could be an old enemy of Liesl and Faison that we either haven't heard of or haven't seen in a long time. They definitely had plenty of people that hated them. Upcoming drama, Jocelyn and Vaughn head to Croatia as tensions rise. And we still don't know if Brit's mystery boss is going to be a long-term player or just a really short-term villain who Jason Morgan, Steve Burton defeats in Croatia and then it's over. In which case, it might be a throwaway bad guy. I personally think it would be great if it were Victor because that could also lead to a reveal about Spencer Cassadine, Nicholas Chavez, returning and he is also supposedly dead. No matter why Brit is hiding from Liesl, I do hope that Brit lets her mom know she's alive very soon. And we've got Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, and Vaughn, Bryce Durfee headed to Croatia. So Jocelyn is on a collision course with Dr. Westbourne. And Jocelyn of course would be stunned to see Brit alive, the woman who sacrificed herself to save Jocelyn from the hook. And then by the end of this week, it looks like Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, may encourage Jason to go to Croatia as well to stop anything from happening to Jocelyn. If you remember, Anna warned Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, that Jocelyn is too new of an agent to do this and she's in over her head. So, we've got messy stuff coming soon, and the big bad boss reveal should be a big shocker where Brit is concerned.